Hi, welcome to my channel, Teacher Flicks. I'm Erica Gilbert. Today I will be doing commentary on a story out of California where a 15-year-old student was stabbed to death inside of an art classroom at Santa Rosa High School.
Who's 16 years old to lose his life over what? Over what?
Family and friends just in shock tonight after police say a student stabbed another student to death at a high school in the North Bay. And new at 11 tonight, video from inside a Santa Rosa classroom that appears to show the fight that came before that deadly stabbing. Police say two teenagers approached a freshman before one of the students was killed.
So you have video where students had taken inside of the classroom where two students had entered the classroom to fight another student. And so you can see on the video the teacher is actually trying to break it up. The teacher appears to be a female teacher. She actually put herself at great risk intervening in the fight, but I can understand why she would do that because instincts takes over. Districts typically have policies whereby teachers are not to intervene in fights, and that's usually the job of the security guard. But, usually instincts take over. And unfortunately, many teachers have been hurt themselves intervening in fights. And this could have possibly been a very dangerous situation for this teacher. One of the most shocking things to me about the video was the audacity of the two students who actually entered the classroom to actually fight another student. It's not uncommon that you actually have two students inside of a classroom who may end up in a fight for one reason or another. But to have two students enter the classroom just to fight another student was very shocking. I'm personally aware of the district that I'm in where now the policy is for all teachers in all classrooms to keep the classroom doors locked at all times. It's because of the recent school massacre in Uvalde, Texas, where an 18-year-old went in and unfortunately harmed a bunch of children and a teacher. So although having to keep your classroom door locked continuously throughout the day can be really annoying because you have to continually get up every time a student go to the restroom and someone has to be disturbed to open the door, it can be really annoying, but it could also be a really good preventative measure to keep, people out of the classroom that actually should not be in the classroom. And it also allows and it keeps students from just walking into the classroom. I've had students who just walk into my classroom just randomly at different districts and campuses just to say hi or just to fool around, and play at the door or whatever. But this is a good preventative measure to keep kids out of the classroom. Now, you can't prevent everything, but you do the best you can with what you have. One of the news anchors actually said that two teenagers approached the freshmen, but they were all three teenagers because freshmen are usually around the ages of 13 and 14. So they did decide to actually cancel the classes for the remaining of the week. And I did see in a previous broadcast where they were debating on whether or not, they would actually continue school for the rest of the week. And I thought that was kind of odd. How could you not when you have a student who's actually been stabbed in the classroom and the resulting consequence of that was that he actually died later on. It's really sad that Jayden Pienta lost his life in this situation. Oftentimes, students do not even think that there would be remotely a possibility that they could actually lose their lives. There are so many different fights that go on campuses every single day in America. And there are students who actually fight for sport. This culture of fighting is nothing new to humankind. However, it is something that's being pushed a lot in mainstream media. Everywhere you look, there's a fight. Even so now that you can go on to Snapchat and on these social platforms where students are posting fights that are happening on campus. And we just heard of a recent story of a young lady who was actually jumped on a school campus outside in the hallway by some individuals. And some students actually recorded the event, and it was spread around the entire school. So how do schools put, in place policies that will keep, students safe from, being recorded without their permission, especially when things that is so humiliating, like being jumped outside in the hallway at school, is posted all online. I have seen students standing around in groups, literally watching a fight that may have happened at the start of the day, in the hallway during passing period, at lunchtime. And so students, they think some of this stuff is funny, and it's not. So what type of education the schools, need to have to educate students on this type of behavior, because it's not okay. Now, I do not want to put the entire onus on schools. I just think that schools, should be partnering with parents and with law enforcement. And so, yes, it is parents' responsibility. But what happens when parents drop that responsibility? Should we hold parents accountable for students displaying violence in school? What are the answers? If you have any answers, please leave it in the comments below. I would like to know some suggestions. But back to the 16-year-old who lost his life, as a result of being stabbed. How did this, student get this knife on campus? Apparently, someone said he had pulled it out of his backpack, and perhaps maybe students need to only carry clear backpacks where you can clearly see what's actually in the backpack, or perhaps maybe we need to just ditch backpacks altogether. If that's what it takes for kids to stay safe, then that's probably what we need to do. Let me know what you think about that down below.
Outside Montgomery High School in Santa Rosa. They say the 16-year-old was in the 11th grade.
He was a good boy. He was kind-hearted, sweet, loving, gentle. He's a big boy, but he wouldn't have harmed anybody.
So I feel, my condolences go out to the grandmother, and the grandmother says that he wouldn't harm anybody, but unfortunately he did. He actually went into a classroom and jumped a student, and as a result, he put himself in a situation, where he lost his life, and that's sad. And I do feel for the family, but to say that he wouldn't harm anyone is just not true. Kids fighting other kids is causing harm to another person. So the kid who actually ended up with multiple wounds, they went to the nurse, but unfortunately when he went to the hospital, he died. I do know that some school districts prefer that you contact the nurse first, and I've always had an issue with that, because if there is something as far as some kid getting stabbed, you should automatically dial 911, because perhaps maybe just that amount of time that passed could have saved his life. I do really hope that these students get the counseling that they need to be able to get through this very difficult time, because I can only imagine that the anxiety that something like this that has happened on campus could cause other students. There could be many students now who feel really unsafe, even if them getting into an altercation with another student, because you just never know if some student is going to harm you, resulting in you losing your life. My heart goes out to this family, because this is not a situation that anyone with children would want to be in. So I hope that they find the peace and the comfort that they need to get through this difficult time.